Welcome to Innovate Asia, a podcast spotlighting visionary pioneers tackling Asia's toughest challenges with groundbreaking ideas. To my surprise, I came here just over 3.5 years ago, went to your Bitcoin meetup, and it was extremely inspiring. If it wasn't for what you have hosted over nearly a decade, I am fairly certain we would not be in this building. We would not be reaching 1,000 Thai people with our education every day because the flame that you've kept going for so many years.
Bitcoin is the negation of your entire existence. There's this orange coin and it's better money, and that really matters. And everything that you have invested in and worked for and built is kind of invalid and outdated, and it's a matter of time until it's over. Too late to explore the seas, too early to explore space, just in time to fix the money. He actually put me on the spot live. He didn't discuss this with me beforehand, but I'm sitting there with 15 guys and they say like, hey guys, I'm moving to Bali soon, and I think somebody needs to keep running this meetup, don't you think? And everyone is like, yeah, that should be it. I think it should be Stefan, you know? Why? Who says that I want to do this? That was a very brief moment, like a flash of emotion, but then I realized that I just wanted to keep talking with these guys every week anyway. And if you have relationship with each of these individual people, then you do not need money. I am doing this meetup for fun. If all I'm getting out of it is this night, this afternoon, this conversation with you, I'm already happy. And then paradoxically, the opportunities come from that.
You're building a village. Can you tell us a little bit about Namjai Village?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Namjai Village. The solution to that is to build a classic old school community where people know each other and trust each other.
Yeah.
Everyone is sort of living this healthy, wholesome life and everyone knows each other. One thing that I've always done is just do things that are a little bit outside of my reach. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But that is the only way that I can really get excited about something. We know from also science and from history how unhealthy it is to live in this atomized, transient way. Like, it's not good for people, it's not good for us. So we know, therefore, the best possible way to live in Chiang Mai would be sort of like this.
Cool. So today I am here with entrepreneur, investor, educator, and friend, Stefan King. And for the very first time, I am not bound by a clock. Typically behind you, there's a clock that tells me that we have to stay on cue for about an hour and 15 minutes. That's for the algorithm. But today, we're not here for the algorithm. We're here for an insightful, mindful, meaningful conversation between Stefan and I. Before we get into Stefan and hear from him, I'd like to tell a brief story of how I arrived here and how it's relevant to today's conversation. In 2021, I went to El Salvador for their first adopting Bitcoin. And it was my first experience at a conference, first experience being around in a community of Bitcoiners. And I was, galvanized or just struck by how many smart, like super intelligent humans are coming together to solve this problem. At the time I was on my third year of traveling. I had just left America in 2018. So this is my third year and I'm trying to decide where I want to go live. And I knew I wanted to come back to Southeast Asia. I had been how I started when I first came out in 2018, I heard about Thailand being like so wonderful. So I wanted to like do everything else in case Thailand is what everybody says it is. And then I never get to see anything else. So I started with Vietnam in 2018. I went over to Philippines, and then I went to Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Laos. I went to Laos. This is an important part of the story. And then I went down to Thailand, and we were supposed to spend just 2 weeks in Thailand. And it was one of those, I was in Copenhagen and I spent 2 weeks and it turned into 2 months.
The island has an effect on people.
It does have an effect on people. And I think that was a telling sign. So at that point, this was March 15th, 2020. We were just there for 2 months and we had to do a visa run to Vietnam because that's what we were doing at the time, visa run stuff. But that was also the day that the world started locking down. So when we got to Bangkok, they said, Vietnam just closed, Malaysia closed, Brunei closed, Indonesia closed. Literally, like, it's like you see on the Tom Hanks movie, like in Terminal, where like the flickering of the locations are just closed, 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 closed. Similar to that feeling. And Laos was open. And I was with 2 Americans I had met and my girlfriend at the time. And I'm like, well, I was just in Laos last year. It's open. Let's go there for a weekend until this blows over and we'll come back. We were stuck in Laos for 8 months.
Wow.
Could not leave, like locked in.
Which town were you at?
So we started in Vang Vieng, and then they locked us into that province there. And then once we were able to stretch our legs, we were able to go further, Vientiane. But you had to stay in the country because it's too poor to have health hazards. Like they just couldn't have problems.
Yeah.
So they were very airtight about it. So they had allowed us to leave in October. So you March to October, to 8 months or something crazy, 7 or 8 months. Go down to Mexico. Finally, the conferences start opening up. Go to El Salvador. I'm struck by these people. I want to move back to Southeast Asia. I had just had that like aha feeling at Thailand. And I was trying to think like, but maybe the island's not for me. You know, I'm a little more energetic. Maybe I'm maybe not ready to just lay on a beach. And so
they say that if you move to an island, that's the end of your career. Like you cannot really move up from there.
You could see that too in a lot of the islanders. They're like, I've been here 20 years. And they're just as tan as the Thai guy or even tanner. And so I was researching and I heard about what you had built in Chiang Mai. And I was trying to get as much information as I could.
Was this in El Salvador?
Yeah, so I was into El Salvador and I'm researching, okay, where am I going to go to? And literally, like, I didn't know you. I didn't know. I just heard that there's a consistent keyword, like weekly, these humans happening in Thailand. And I'm like, okay. And it's like an expat thing. And that was the weighing factor of me truly coming to find out what Chiang Mai is about. Not calling you, not typing you. I didn't want to be like one of those, you know, we get those messages like, what's it like? Should I come? Like, I just like wanted to take a leap of faith. And to my surprise, I came here just over 3.5 years ago and went to your Bitcoin meetup. And it was extremely inspiring. And I think if it wasn't for what you have hosted over nearly a decade, I am fairly certain we would not be in this building. We would not be reaching 1,000 Thai people with our education every day. We would not be bringing Bitcoin education to the city at this stage, in my opinion. I'm not sure if we would be at this position of education in the universities with Bitcoin as we are, because the flame that you've kept going for so many years. So just wanted to enlighten us on that quick story of how we arrived here and how this is a full circle moment for me to get a chance to sit down with you. Mm-hmm. And I actually ran into your wife 2 weeks back and I was like, you know, and we'll talk about what you're building and all these stuff. I got a bunch of questions. And I was like, you know, I'm not so sure. Am I fascinated with Namjai Village? We'll talk about it. Or am I fascinated with just you and who you are? So today I'm very glad and grateful and thankful that you're here. And if we can, I'd like to get a little backstory of who you are. I know just a little tidbit. You have a master's in artificial intelligence, like before like the iPhone came, like 2015 or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And right now we say AI, it's just a normal daily part of conversation. I believe you have a degree in psychology and computer science. So please feel free to share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, how you became the host of this Bitcoin meetup for nearly a decade, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's really good to be here with you now and to spend this time to share this, because it is true that um, I'm surprised by how far you have taken this. Like, because my ambitions have been very different always with the Bitcoin meetup, and the fact that this can be a start of something else is also very inspiring to me.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah. Well, so I am Dutch. I'm from the Netherlands, and I studied artificial intelligence and psychology in university. So I have a technical background, but always have this fascination with how people behave, how people are, psychology, right? And if you take a technical perspective on this, it sort of becomes artificial intelligence, where you do computer science with it, right? So I graduated just before the credit crisis started. So in 2008,
Okay.
that's when I got my master's. And it was, I started out corporate, became an IT consultant, and that wasn't really what I enjoyed. It didn't really work for me. And then I just taught myself how to be a content writer for software companies. I always enjoyed writing things. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I had this talent to take a technical concept and explain it properly. And the people that hired me, they really valued that, and I could work location independently because of that. I could get clients in English language speaking countries, or people that wanted English language marketing content for their software company. They wanted that, and then I could do that from anywhere. They usually didn't figure out that I was not a native English speaker until they had hired me. So that was a fun detail. My last name is King. That's because it comes from Australia. So people think that I usually am American or something, but no, I'm actually very Dutch, but I speak English well and I can write this content. So because I could live anywhere, I picked Thailand to start with, and I was planning to travel around here just like you did. But most of the time I just stayed in Chiang Mai. I was very happy here. I've been in now almost 14 years. So I was just writing content online, and that was my work, my career, and I enjoy my life. My quality of life here is always amazing.
Yeah.
And there was this, at some point I discovered Bitcoin, and I got really excited about that. I really studied about it, and I made friends in this industry. And but there was no meetup at the time, and you couldn't really buy it easily. And mining was also a technical challenge, really difficult. So I didn't have access to engage in that way. But then in 2016, there were two guys who started the Bitcoin meetup. They started to be regular every week. And that there was enough demand for that at the time. You had about 15 guys, and sometimes they bring their girlfriend, and then we could say there's women too in Bitcoin. Right? Good. It was fascinating to meet these people, because they're all very strange, very kind of outside of the norm. You have hardcore computer scientists, you have coders, programmers, but also traders, always very entrepreneurial types as well. And they have very extreme political opinions. So I was just very fascinated with this. And the two guys that started it, one of them, he did maybe attended only twice, and then he left Chiang Mai already. And the other guy kept it going.
Okay.
Boban. Boban was very important in making it a consistent thing.
Where is he from?
He is from Serbia.
Okay.
Yeah, and he comes back to Chiang Mai every year. And we hang out then. But he's not here year round, and that's the key thing, because we were all having so much fun. But he was going to leave in that December 2016 for Bali. He said, "Hey, I'm going to Bali because I move around." And he actually put me on the spot live. He didn't discuss this with me beforehand, but I'm sitting there with 15 guys, and they say like, "Hey guys, I'm moving to to Bali soon, and I think somebody needs to keep running this meetup, don't you think? And everyone is like, yeah, that should be. I think it should be Stefan, because he is here very consistently, and he's dressed really well, and so he can be a good face for this thing. And I was like, I had that second. This is like, you bastard, you put me on the spot. This is like, maybe I don't want this responsibility, That's why? Who says that I want to do this? That was a very brief moment, like a flash of emotion. But then I realized that I just wanted to keep talking with these guys every week anyway. I love this. This is so much fun. This is important. I'm going to do this. And I said, yes, let's do it. And so that's how the meetup became my responsibility to keep going, right? It's I don't really call it my meetup anymore. Like, some people encouraged me to say that, like, hey, this is really you doing it, and not wrong. But then also I feel that it's also the people that are showing up consistently that make it what it is as well, right? So I want to also give credit to that.
For sure.
And but what I am is the guy who is always showing up. Like, you can count on it. You don't have to look at the calendar and worry, is there going to be a meetup? And that is a key ingredient, the consistency, that that Stefan will be there.
Yeah. Providing, like, I know sometimes you got married or like you need a break and you're just like, hey, I see you message the group, say, I'm not gonna be there today, but the group's in good hands. And they still have a great meetup, 10, 15, 20 guys, people, right? And it carries on with or without you.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's like a train, right? If the train keeps going, you don't always have to supply more power, right? The train can go for a while. And I usually come back in time, and then I pick it back up again. And sometimes if I'm away for 6 weeks in the burning season or something, then it just stops. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But everybody knows I will be back, and it will pick up again.
No one could breathe anyway, so no one's going out over there. Yeah. So one of the first questions I had is about how that experience over these years has shaped your perspective. You mentioned you're around like these programmers, these mathematicians, these traders. It's a pretty wide scope of people that attend these meetups. And I could only imagine doing this weekly has a pretty big effect on someone for nearly 25% of your life, So can you tell me a little bit about, like, how is that, like, changed or maybe enhanced or shaped or just changed your perspective on the world or on who you are, or like, how has this being around this group every week affected you?
Yeah, it's been very big for me, a big change, a big, like, I would say almost a spiritual development that I went through. Of course, intellectual development, because you learn about Bitcoin, and there's this cycle of either I'm learning from a very smart, educated, capable person, right? If they come to town and they know something I don't, then I learn from them, or I have the opportunity to teach to people that are curious, right? And that started happening quite soon, that people didn't know about Bitcoin and they started up because they wanted to know more about it, and then it became my role to educate, right? So my sophistication as an educator had to level up, right? I had to learn that. I had to grow into that. While at the same time, I'm learning from all these experts. And then I really noticed how beautiful that is, that if you just love something so much that you want to either take or give, doesn't matter. You just go, whatever the opportunity is, you just stick with it and you go for it and you share it with people when you can. Then that just creates so much positive flow in your life. And it has changed my career as well. So after the timing here is important, and Bitcoiners will obviously know how this works with the market. But for us, it was a big surprise that in 2016, Bitcoin was very much an obscure thing. And the first very big popular bull run happened during 2017. And it started with these 15 guys, 10 to 15 guys. And then it was suddenly 20, 30, 40, 50 new people that are curious. because there was not so much
Yeah.
educational content online.
Sure.
So they had to come to us to learn about it. And I suddenly become this college professor, and I have to start using a whiteboard. And then there's this whole room, and I don't have a microphone, and anyone is screaming, and it's just like, what do I do now? You know, I had to adapt. And so it became a big deal, and this whole industry grew in proportion. And I had made these friends in the industry that came consistently to the meetup as well. And they started hiring me for things,
Cool.
you know, or pass me along to jobs. Like there was a bigger
Opportunities.
Yeah, bigger opportunities they passed along. And so since 2017, I've been in this industry up until about a year ago. I was only working in Bitcoin blockchain stuff.
Yeah.
Right now I call myself a Bitcoiner. I'm basically Bitcoin only now. But at the time, as you might remember, there was a lot other stuff that was potentially interesting.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't know then what I do know now. Right. So I was working in the blockchain industry, and it has completely changed my life, both in terms of how much enjoyment and passion you can have from your life, and also financially, how much you can get paid, how much a project can grow.
Yeah.
Right. So that's been a very important growth experience for me.
I love that about you, that you're so willing to learn. You know, like, yes, you started the Bitcoin meetup in 2016, but you're still like open-minded to understand how things work, why they work the way they work, ask questions. You know, when you really care about something, it's like, it's not like you're going to walk by it. You know, you go to like see like Michelangelo and you really like that type of sculpture, you're going to spend a few minutes, but someone that doesn't really care will walk right by it. So the fact that you're willing to open the hood, talk to this Monero guys and talk to the other guys and hear them out, it really helps you build your own way. You know, it helps you kind of learn more about what you love and the challenges with it. And I also notice how you look at, you know, you try to look at the holes of things too. You know, you're not just looking for like, you know, go, go, go. You're looking for what the problems are.
Yes.
You know,
You want to, I am really motivated by curiosity often.
Yeah.
Also other things, of course. But if I really want to know, then I'm not satisfied with gaps in the story. And I say like, hey, what's happening there?
We're going to talk about that. I got a couple of things out here. Don't go too far. So I want to ask, and up here, and I broke them down into kind of Bitcoin and community, because you built this outstanding community, and then it goes into like more of education and philosophy, and then I got a couple personal reflections I want to talk about with you.
Mm-hmm.
But many people express interest in starting communities, and maybe not necessarily does it have to be a Bitcoin community, but what do you believe keeps it sustainable? Why? People create a great idea, then they learn, oh my God, I got to help this guy get a code from his text to get on the exchange. And maybe it's all not sunshine and rainbows. And maybe like, it's not all those amazing conversations, and maybe it's deflating a little bit, or there's like cost associated or time in it. Like, can you help us articulate why how it could be sustainable for others?
Yeah.
Or you?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I've seen other people struggle with this, and also at some point me and some other people that were consistent at the meetup, we were tempted to turn it into something else, to make it more of a branded network of talks, right? And that also didn't really work. And I think now that you want a community, like the word community is really supposed to be something small enough that you know everyone involved, or could know everyone involved. And if you have relationship with each of these individual people, then you do not need money. Money is for the situation where you do not really know someone, right? If you, as a Bitcoiner, you probably know the history of economics and money, right? And then you learn that. And so when it is about community, then you want it to be small scale and very relationship based. And that is what makes it work, in the sense that everyone is motivated by the right thing. Like, for example, if I start giving out codes. It's just like, hey, you want to do a hardware wallet. I explain to you how a hardware wallet works, and they say, oh, which one should I buy? So you should buy this one, and then use this code, and then I get 10%, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like that undermines the sting.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
That's so I don't do that. I'm honestly telling people, look, I am doing this meetup for fun. If all I'm getting out of it is this night, this afternoon, this conversation with you, I'm already happy. And then paradoxically, the opportunities come from that. Like it, but it's never like me trying to push anything. It's they ask like, hey, I need someone to do job XYZ, and I think you would be perfect for it. And then I get hired, or I introduce one person to another person because I have this big network, and you get this role of being a matchmaker.
Yeah.
Right? And then that creates a lot of goodwill. It's not that I ask like, now I want 10% of your salary. I'm a matchmaker for you. No, it's just like, hey, I did you a favor there, and then later on it's the other way around. So it's really the word community is about a flat goodwill organization, not trying to optimize the economics of it or to exploit situations. That you just don't do that. So that's one. And then you have the consistency, because I have to live here. Like I don't always feel like driving in rush hour from my house on the other side of town to Sababa, where we have the meetup. This is like, I don't really think it's right, especially if it's raining. Like, right, but I made that commitment, and I know that I will have wonderful conversations. So then I do it. So the other guys that are very guys and girls also, there's a lot of women in our community now too.
Cool.
There's the other people that are regulars. They always have the option to just not go. Right? Yeah. I'm the only one who doesn't have that option.
Yeah.
So it's that is the sacrifice that I'm making to keep this thing going. Right? And then the third one is this double thing of learning from the experienced people, and also giving those people the floor, even if they're not necessarily talking about Bitcoin. If they understand something really well, then you want to give them the space to talk, right? And then I sort of boost them up a little bit, and I ask them more questions, and I get them in the conversation. And then on the other hand, if there is new people who want to learn and are just curious and are honestly interested in and what we have to talk about, then I also make sure that they have a good time, that they get what they came for. So you take care of people in this way, that what this person needs here, I'm trying to satisfy that for them.
So you have to be thoughtful and genuinely passionate about the topic of the community, not try to monetize it, because instantly that's like a red flag, and be like a matchmaker. So you do have to have some of these skills though, like these personality skills, willingness to, give that guy the spotlight, give her the spotlight, introduce them. Cause I mean, and I think you're more introvert than extrovert, but still you're very deeply interested and curious of the subject. So I guess it opens you up a little bit.
Yeah. It's I'm quite introvert, but not that much, right? So I'm still capable of extrovert behaviors. I am focused on other people when I'm with other people, and I have enough energy to be animated with them during like the 6 hours that it can take for the whole meetup to play out, usually 4 to 6 hours. And so it is definitely helpful that I have enough of these kind of these social lubricants I can facilitate.
For sure.
Right?
I don't feel you as an introvert. Like you told me that at the meetup. You're like, I'm more introvert, you're more extrovert.
Yeah, but you seeing the extroverted side of me, right? By definition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I'm always in it when you're in your zone.
Yeah.
Right. I guess
I'm quite introvert in the sense that, and it also actually has to do with the studying required to learn about something like AI or Bitcoin, right? Like you need to be somebody who can sit in a room for hours and hours and hours, and not like, okay, I have to talk to you. Like so there is a bit you see the extroverted side, and it's these. I think it's just like kind of experience, like the social skills to run a good meetup. They require a level of maturity. right? And I just have had that. I'm 45 now, you know, like I've seen things.
Yeah, you have.
I know how things work. I know how people are. That's an interesting time that somewhere around the age of 35 or something, you have met all the types of people that you're gonna ever meet. Like there's systems you can classify people. There's feelings, you have scars that hurt. It's like, oh, that's one of those again, right? And so I know all these things. They're unconscious. They're be in the background of my mind. That helps me steer and manage the quality of the evening.
Yeah.
And yeah, what else?
You've mentioned that you've seen things. I want to parlay real quick and not interrupt you, but I want you've also seen these transformations. People that have came maybe that are just starting out. I mean, even Phi. You must have seen so many people have that aha moment. Like, how does that make you feel? Because there's got to be something there, and I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah. It's so it feels amazing, and it's great to have that effect, to be that catalyst for someone to you know, the image is like, it's not filling a cup, but it's lighting a fire.
Yeah.
Right. That's what people usually explain about what is satisfying about educating someone, and but it is shockingly rare that happens. I am expecting, when I explain Bitcoin, for it to maybe hit, or maybe the penny drops months later or something, or maybe they will come back 2 years later. Oh, I wish I had listened to you. Like that happens too. There's much more common than somebody really getting it.
Yeah.
I think probably maybe, like, on one hand, that I can take credit for somebody being curious, and then me having the conversation over the course of 1 to 3, 4 weeks, and then them saying like, this is it. Like I'm changing my behavior, right? Not like, oh, I'm buying a hardware wallet and maybe this is a thing. Like that happens more commonly, you know, people, especially later now. But in the early days, understanding Bitcoin requires much more commitment, because you would have so much pushback from everything else in the culture, in the media, whatever. It was just this orange scam coin, whatever. Like there was always so many bad press, so much bad press about Bitcoin, that for someone to overcome that and then listen to me, like I'm just a guy in Chiang Mai, you know. I don't really present as some sort of wizard or whatever. I just trying to explain this to you.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't register for them that this might be important.
You know, but I can imagine, and it's such a small number. You know, Phi, the director here at the Bitcoin Learning Center, she credits you with being that penny dropping moment. And I know how scarce that is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second here, sweetheart. I took you there.
Yes. That is exactly it. It wasn't just me. Like she came because she had an introduction from someone that she already trusted and loved and understood well.
Yeah.
Right. So then there is this double whammy.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-punch, you know, or like with football, they have this thing, is like the one guy puts it in front of the goal, the other one puts it in, right? So that is much more easy to do. And so I tell people also, like, look, my job as an educator has become a lot easier over the recent years, because now, like, for example, a lot of people, they take their cues about how trustworthy someone is, or if they should listen from that person's social status. Like, so then I can just say like, okay, so you have heard something bad about Bitcoin from a journalist, and now you're here to clarify things or whatever. I have an idea. Why don't you go watch this guy called Michael Saylor?
Yeah.
And he will explain Bitcoin to you very efficiently. And if you still want to argue, then you can argue with a Fortune 500 CEO billionaire guy about why he is an idiot and you are not, right? Like, that is kind of a strange proposition. So then,
but you didn't have that the first 4 years.
I didn't have that. No, I didn't have that. I was just a guy in Chiang Mai, and people, some people don't really think in numbers. They don't process quantities.
Yeah.
Right. So you can say like, oh, there's this market cap idea, and the market cap of Bitcoin is now equaling equaling Fortune 500 company XYZ, right? So it's a big thing. Or it's like there's countries that have currencies that have a market cap that's lower than Bitcoin. So there's entire countries that are smaller than this internet coin, right? In terms of economic activity.
Sure.
Right. So these things would, if you were somebody who thinks in quantities and numbers, then you say like, oh, so apparently I have to pay attention here. But it's quite rare. Most people just respond to vibes and to news, right?
For sure.
So I need to catch them in the right frame, curious enough, and then just say the right thing so that they keep going.
Yeah.
And sometimes it totally hits the mark, you know, like they get it. They sent me a message like 3 weeks later. It's just like, hey, I really refocused my whole career on this thing now. I only work on this now, right? Or yeah.
Do you find yourself like self-educating more because you're so often around introductory level education? Like, do you find that you're learning more about Bitcoin because you're surrounded by people that are really in their early stages and you're kind of you're a lot further along? Do you find that makes you want to like learn more about Bitcoin, or there's just
No, not about Bitcoin. That has happened already.
Yeah, completely.
I'm done.
We're gonna get somewhere with that too.
Oh yeah. What I find interesting, like this process of
I'm done. You said.
Yeah. Well, for me, the
like put on the meme thing real quick. Continue.
Okay.
Continue. I'm jumping further down because you're excited.
The education for me happened years ago, like my self-education and the conversations where somebody else moved the needle for me in terms of grasping what this is. That was mostly offline, and then at some point I still continued more details about how things were developing, about mining, whatever, right? And also blockchain industry as a whole, how that worked. Like you have Bitcoin here, and you have all this other stuff around like crypto and meme coins and right, meme stocks, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I kept up to date with Twitter or X now. Yeah. Right. That is my feed, is sort of about that. Right. So that is how I stay in touch with everything. I can have fluent conversations about those adjacent topics as well.
Right.
And then when I talk about Bitcoin, then it's about what does this person need right now? Like, what do they need to hear for this to move forward? What are the motivations? So sometimes I actually ask them. It's just like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, not in a negative way. It's just like, you love it. You come here because you're curious. Yeah. And it's just like, are you trying to make as much money as possible without doing any real work? Or are you trying to save for the future? Or did your friends talk about Bitcoin and now you're curious? Like, I want to know where they come from.
Yes.
And
so
then
you can help them.
Yeah. And then I can
your Twitter bio doesn't even mention Bitcoin.
No, I changed that a few months ago.
Okay.
I think
I just happened to catch it.
Yeah. That's it was a deliberate choice. I also removed almost all the Bitcoin and blockchain jargon and references from my LinkedIn profile as well.
Oh wow.
First, I don't want to be too high profile for any just random person. Like, I don't mind being on this podcast. Like, people can know who I am. Sure. Like, I'm not worried about that. People see me at the meetup. But if you have this Bitcoin thing on big social media stuff, then it's much easily searchable. And I want to be a bit more private about that. That's reason number one.
Interesting. Cool.
And then also it's because the project that I'm working now is in a completely different field.
Okay.
And I want to maximize my reach.
Completely makes sense.
For that new project.
We're going to talk about that new project down here. Yeah. But before we move on, I heard you say you're done. You got to elaborate there. We can't just pass that by. Like when you said done, fill that up for us.
Yeah. So I've reached a certain endpoint in like my understanding of Bitcoin, and I don't mean that arrogantly, as in I know everything there is to know with Bitcoin. Yeah. Like, that's not true. Like, there's a lot of more stuff going on that I don't follow anymore. But you're hitting diminishing returns at some point. Right. So my ability to understand why it's important and what is it going to do in the rough sort of broad strokes history thing. I know that. I know the economics pretty well. Probably not 100%, but very solid. All the important stuff, right? And I also can educate people about it, right? And then I don't. The rest is kind of more detail. It's like the small fry.
Yeah.
And then there is not much satisfaction for me into studying details if the important stuff is already behind me. I much rather move on to something else. Like, for example, Namjai Village, real estate, right? But also AI is become really interesting again to me.
Cool.
And I'm using it, I'm applying it, I'm trying to understand how that goes. So I, because of my curiosity, needs to get some sort of higher delta thing.
Yeah.
And with Bitcoin, I'm not done in the sense that I don't like it anymore or that I don't want to talk about it anymore. I love it. But learning something new about Bitcoin is quite difficult for me now.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Would you say that your conviction's like 100%? Like,
yeah,
do you
absolutely,
no doubt?
There's no one who has more like founded, solidly evidence-based conviction than me and all the other, like, what they call OGs. The people that spend as much time on it as I have, or you or other people that there's just, it's an unshakable understanding. Right?
I have a few things I got to ask from it. 3 things. One, Neil, could you get us another cold water? Because we're going to go through them. On this image, we had talked about it 2 weeks ago, and you had mentioned, so you said that because I got a lot of ideas, I'll try 10 things, 8 won't work. That's totally fine with me. I still got a lot of energy, and I'm kind of like in my 6th, I bounce between 6 and 7 and 8, more hover at 8. And you said you're kind of at a 9.
Yeah.
You're already, you've set the sails, and now you're on to other things that interest you, right?
Yeah.
But do you,
and also, I don't really have much emotional attachment to what the price does, for example.
Okay.
Right. So some people are surprised about that. In another podcast, the host asked me, is like, I noticed that you don't care what the price does. And it's like, yeah, I don't care. I get okay either way, I'm fine. Yeah. And so that is a sign, right? You don't. I also don't care if people don't believe me. If people are being annoying about it. If they don't want to learn about it. If they want to lecture me about it, then well, I care in the sense that nobody likes losing a discussion or whatever. So in that sense, I push back, but I don't have actual doubt instilled upon me by anyone else saying anything about Bitcoin. Right? That's not possible. So I'm that guy. Yeah.
I love that you're that guy. I went there. I went and visited you.
Oh, okay.
I didn't love it. No, I was like, because I wanted more people to learn and
yeah, you were an evangelist, man. And I totally get it, because I was that too. Like, spending a significant amount of psychic mojo on trying to shift people's view. Like, so they are here right now, and there is a certain ignorance. There's definitely ignorance, sometimes hostility, and then you feel like, I need to fix that.
Yeah.
Right. Totally get it, man.
One of my questions is do you think that we completely understand? Let me read it. Do we think we truly grasp? Do you think we truly grasp the profound implications of Bitcoin? Even where we are,
Are you talking about us
or you? Yeah, I would say we, as in people.
Yeah. Okay, so fundamentally, yes. Fundamentally, there is people that reach the end of their educational journey with Bitcoin. You can have, and it takes a long time. Look, this is not easy. It takes years, right? You need to have a at least intermediate grasp of at least 5 different fields of science. For
Economics,
economics, cryptography, computer science, monetary history, and finance, probably. Right? Maybe finance is a bit of a iffy, but like, it's 5. It's roughly that, and then not beginner level, like intermediate.
Yeah.
Right. You need to, when it comes to cryptography, you need to know more than just a few words that you get in the first 4 weeks.
For sure.
Like, you need to look at the math a bit and say, like, how is this actually gonna get done? Right.
Yeah.
And then, but you can get a long way if you skip two of those fields and you have a much deeper understanding of something else. Like, for example, it's very easy to explain Bitcoin to an open-minded finance guy because they already know how money works, right? So, but then this is like, look, there's this whole thing about computer science that you probably want to know the basics of and spend 6 weeks on, and then you have a chance. So, okay. So, but then that knowledge that allows you to make certain predictions about the future, but the future is fundamentally uncertain. So it gets very vague and weird, right? So just like with the weather, we cannot make weather predictions beyond 7 days, unless you were in the Sahara or something, right? Like you know the weather is going to be like, but that's generally in most places you don't know because it's a chaotic system. So I know that there will be summer and winter coming, but I don't know when it will rain. And you see, so that is the same with Bitcoin. It's gonna do its job of changing the global economy and influencing people's behavior by changing incentives. So we know those things, but then the particular news items are gonna follow that, and the particular hedge funds are gonna speculate this and that way. Like nobody knows that. Right? So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, it's a very difficult question to ask because we just don't know. It's just like you said, the future is unpredictable. I still think there's a lot of things that Bitcoin's going to infiltrate that we haven't really thought through. All of us haven't yet.
The money, once the money gets fixed, whole other things become possible that were not possible before.
Correct.
Right? And that is what the initial wave of the blockchain inspiration was about. This is like, oh, this is an amazing thing. We should use this for other things. But what people don't understand or didn't understand at the time is like, no, first that money has to do its job of fixing. Right, it has to change the economy first, and then you can use that fixed money
and do all sorts of things.
Yes, then becomes much more. Like Lightning Network is very important for that. I've done some deep thinking about that. I wrote essays about that. But the so you can know how those things go by understanding Bitcoin, but not because the future is fundamentally uncertain. How it plays out in detail, nobody can.
Nobody can live it. Yeah. I like to ask this question to Bitcoiners that I meet. I don't believe I've asked you this question. When was the last time that you've went a full 24 hours without thinking about Bitcoin in some capacity?
I don't think that ever happens. No.
So let's stay here for a second. I've never met someone that said, "Oh yeah, I went scuba diving, I went fishing, I went to a wedding, and I didn't think about it."
No.
I never heard someone say my family.
24 hours, not like there were. I would say 6 hours,
For sure.
10 hours. Yeah,
Motorbiking, having fun.
Yeah. But 24 hours, no.
But what is that? So someone watching that might not be a Bitcoiner. What? What do you mean you haven't got 24 hours? Like what is that?
I can explain. I will borrow from a meme that really clicked with a lot of people, I think. It's so it's this kind of like manly idea of you want to be out there in the world and do important things, right? So there was this guy, he printed a t-shirt and it said too late to explore the seas, too early to explore space, just in time to fix the money. And it first feels like it's a little bit disappointing, right? Like fixing the money is not as sexy as exploring the seas or exploring space, right? But okay, if you think about it, if that's what we have, then it is evidently what I have been doing. Like I have spent up my whole life, you have, other people have, around this weird new thing, which is fixing the money. And it turns out that you didn't even know that it was what was broken until you understood Bitcoin and you look at, so that's what money is, right? And then that is why it's important, and this is how everything gets done, and it's such a big deal that you refocus your whole life around it. At least I have for the last 9 years, right? And I'm only just now like coming up for air and say like maybe I should do something else. I love it. Only now. Like so it did 9 years, and I'm not speaking of the Meetup, right? But I knew about Bitcoin. I was obsessed about Bitcoin earlier than 9 years.
Sure.
So it was my big deal. And so to say like, oh, is there a time that you don't ever think about Bitcoin, or like for 24 hours? So imagine a seafaring, like a guy being on a boat, like a sea captain. Is there a day that he does not think about the sea? It's kind of hard because, you know, he's in the middle of the boat. It's just like you can't really miss it, right? Or if you are in like you write a science fiction novel and you have some space pirate who is stealing cargo or whatever. Like, is there a time that he does not think about space? No, he lives there, right? So I live in Bitcoin, so of course I think about it, right?
You know, this is one thing I really love about you is like no one's ever gave me an analogy to that question. And like just a few weeks ago, you were talking to me about, you know, how I do a lot of things and maybe I'll try 10 things and 8 won't work. And I was like, yeah, you know, I tried this like Bitcoin stapping thing. And then I said, but you know, it just didn't work out. And then, and we were around a group of guys and girls and you're like, why? I'm like kind of taken back for that. And I was like, what do you mean why? And you're like, well, why didn't it work? And like, I don't get pressed that often. You know, I don't feel like, and then it's from someone like I look up to, I really want to give them an honest answer. So I have to instantly, you know, process this and like, and digest, well, why didn't it work? And then I had told you that because I had came to terms that anything that I do will not outperform the growth rate of Bitcoin. And that was my answer to you in the front of the group. And you were like, I agree. Like you totally were like, yep, you've experienced something similar. You agree to that. And I really I like that someone wants to know, not just like yes you or surface talk. You're like, why? You really want to know like why? Why? What was it? Maybe not because you're, you know, trying to like get a rise out of someone in front of people. That's not it. You genuinely want to know, like, what do you think it was? Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily think I think you're really trying to help the other person think it out. What was it? I mean, luckily this was an easy one for me. Yeah. As you've experienced the same thing. Similar, like, should we spend time on things? And I guess that leads me to another question. I'm not sure where we are in the thing, but like, what should we spend our time on? Let's just say that, and you mentioned when I said that, you said that you came to a similar revelation, not revelation, but you've thought that through too, of not starting certain projects because it's not going to do 70% per year.
Yeah. Yeah. Or only starting projects that are, if you do it for financial reasons, could potentially outperform that. Right. So
yeah.
that is definitely a high hurdle to pass.
Very high hurdle to pass.
But we do not only profit from in monetary ways of doing things. Like sometimes we get something else out of it, right?
Yes.
Like especially people that are post-economic, as Balaji called it.
Yeah.
Like imagine these billionaires, they did go to Davos. And there's this thing going on there that you have these intellectuals there that are not billionaires. And then you have the billionaires who were not intellectuals. And then they sort of try to become friends and do something together so that the billionaires can feel that they are having a global impact.
Yes.
Beyond just economic.
Yes.
And it gets funding for the people who write books and think about things. Right. So everyone sort of wants what they don't have.
Yes.
Right. So if we do something, then it's not only about money, right? Mm-hmm. We profit, we benefit in other ways too. So, that's my answer to that.
Yeah, I really liked being around that. I was like, man, that's why I didn't do it. And then like, on the flip side, paradoxically, this is a very expensive endeavor that we're doing with 6 staff. Building.
You got a beautiful building and a lot of people.
It's the opposite of earning money. It's the opposite of the hurdle rate of what Bitcoin does, but it fuels my desire to do more than what money I economically could do. Yeah. Help more people learn, you know, like maybe have
Yeah, you feel a desire to have a positive impact, and it doesn't always have to be through a business. You have done that already. Now you want to be a philanthropist. You want to help people. You want to educate, right? That's a noble endeavor.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating place to be, and to speak with someone that is already on number 9. So,
Oh, you will eventually get there too, I think.
I'm worried. I'm thinking, I should get there sometime, but I keep coming back. So I want to move on a little bit to education and philosophy, and we touched on it a little bit that you have a unique ability to speak on a wide range of perspectives, and to explain Bitcoin on a wide range of perspectives and relate to people's positions. Has this always been a natural skill to you, or was this something that you developed having a meetup for nearly a decade to be able to articulate so well? Like, I've seen you, let me just back up. When we started getting in universities, when we started approaching universities and getting their agreements, even though we had to change some words like what's blockchain, just get us in the door. I have always been so impressed how well you articulate this, like how you fine tune this. But you said earlier at your job, before they found out that you weren't native English, you still had that skill. So I think it kind of answered my question. But when I watch you speak on Bitcoin, and particularly at a university, it is truly a pleasure. And I said to Phi, I said, what's unique? And I just said this today as I was driving here. I said, it's so wonderful, like an opportunity to bring to when Bitcoin's at the place of beginning to go inside universities. This is like an incredible moment in time. And anyone might want to just grab that spotlight and do that. But I knew that this is the greatest opportunity for the city, for Chiang Mai, for the students, for the country, for the people. We must get our very best articulated voice in that room. That's how I looked at it. Because I was like, oh, would I like to go up there on stage? And we've shared the stage a few times in different academic institutions already. But I knew that if my goal is to help is 1 million Thai people or 1 million people help learn about Bitcoin in Thailand, getting you in front of getting you on stage is like, I'm not sure who's happier, dude, me or you. It's such a pleasure to watch you speak.
Yeah, thank you.
And you just do it so well. And like, I know last week, I briefly looked at the dates. Could you pull up some of the images of education? I saw in January you were at a university, and we had you in quarter 1. You got on the university in quarter 2, and just last week or the week before at ABA was quarter 3.
Yeah, it's a high school. Yep.
It was a high school, but I think it's still an academic institution with Neo, and it's just like, okay, this is so great. Now, not this one, the education, the ones below that, you'll see. Yeah. So yeah, this was so cool for me, dude. It's like I got front row at like a podcast. I got front row at like a speaking. It was just such a cool experience.
And you got me there, right?
Well, like, she got us there.
Yeah, I guess
she got us in there.
Yeah, Bitcoin Learning Center is that amplifies my my reach because I do not I don't need to start knocking on the doors. So it's like, hey, your students should know about this Bitcoin. They like I'm not gonna hear no for that. I have something else to sell
for sure.
So it's so you did it, and once if you present the opportunity to educate on a silver platter, then I will take that.
Of course. Yeah, like and I know if you want to click to the next one, you can show another. I only just quickly grabbed 3 screens. This is a CMU, and I want to stay here for a second because you said something to me recently. You said something to the group at your meetup or the Bitcoin meetup. You said but you didn't say it directly to anyone specifically. You said out loud, like kind of like muttered it, like, well, where does the education happen?
Yes.
And I want to talk about that with you. I want to paint that a little bit for us and maybe help together determine where it does happen. And also let you know that that stuck with me a lot. The following day, I had like a longer run. I'm training for this marathon, and I'm mile 7 or 10, like 11 kilometers. I had this clarity of what our mission statement should be. And it was directly an impact from the question you asked. And no one really gave an answer to your question. I don't want to explore it with you, but I had then made a note while I was running. I know exactly the house I was passing, the street I was passing by the lake. I knew the left turn I was making when I said to Siri, make a note that our new mission statement is so broad that it is today, I will help more people than I helped yesterday. And it was because of what you said. Where does the education happen? And I believe it happens most by being the example, by being a good human, by helping people unrelated to Bitcoin, to make them think, where's that person work? What do they do? Who is that? You know, someone that's doing good for society. And so when people might say, well, that's a pretty short mission statement, it's not specifically about education, it's more of a broad, today, I will help more people than I helped yesterday. It's a reminder that if we go out and be the change in the world we want to see, then that can inspire people to want to know more about why we're this way. And Bitcoin's done that to me. Bitcoin's been the greatest teacher to me. It's helped me in so many ways. So I want to ask you, where does the education happen? I mean, this specific room, the kids were more like getting points to attend.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's the problem with formal education in general,
Yeah.
right? So we don't have to take that personally,
uh-huh.
right? But I can elaborate a bit more
Please.
about that. Like, so what I've really learned from the meetup is the that curiosity that people have about Bitcoin is what pulls them in, and then you have to give them the right thing that keeps them going, right? And then education can happen, because if it's not that, if one of these two things are missing, like if the first one is missing, they don't walk into the door, and there's no opportunity to educate, no reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no fertile ground for the seed to fall in. And then if I misfire in that first explanation, if I take the wrong angle that doesn't resonate with them, then they say like, well, I guess that was a dud. Like, I was curious about it, but I'm not anymore. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And then they're gone for that reason, right? So you, and then why does somebody become curious about Bitcoin? And I think there is this background that you already have about it. If I speak for myself as an example, one for many, people can have other paths, right? Like, I had certain discussions about politics in my 20s, and I read certain books about economics up until I learned about Bitcoin. There was a certain background there. I always was interested in investing, and that is a topic that I really cared about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those three things together made me prone to research more when I learn about this idea, Bitcoin. Like, what is that? It sounds like money, right? And then you're curious, and then you learn more. And because I had this technical background, I had studied AI, I know about computer science, I know about programming, I know about computer networks, right? Then that makes me capable of continuing the research at a very early date, when you don't have charismatic people on YouTube explaining things, right? You have to work with what you got, and there's just a bunch of anarchist computer programmers who wrote a few forum posts, or like something like that,
Yeah,
right? Like
on Reddit.
On Reddit, yeah, exactly. You don't have much, so you need your own. You need to have that.
Yeah.
So for me, the education happened in a sense already years before I heard about Bitcoin. Right, the fertile ground was there for the seed of curiosity to fall in, and then for me there were two important steps, like the concepts being introduced to it online and not having the opportunity to talk about it, but learning by reading. That was the first. But the most important one for our story is the moment that I went to the Bitcoin meetup in 2016. You know, started by Daniel and Boban. There's these strange programmers and mathematicians and entrepreneurs. They are there, and then you can see the fire in their eyes.
Yep.
Right. So I already knew about Bitcoin. I actually knew how it worked. But why was it important? Why was it as important as it turned out to be? Like that was something missing. And because those guys, they were so excited and they were so articulate at explaining it. And I was like, and they said like, read this book and read that book. And I go home and I read that book. It took me 2 weeks, but then you see, so it's the personal relationship that then really propels the thing forward. So the education is something that happens in a preparation of being ready for it.
Yeah.
And then meeting the right people that can pull you along. That's my answer to it.
So like if we're in a room of 100 kids and so it's just like a lucky draw, like hit or miss, like that child was grown up curious and wants to learn more. It's fast. Like,
Yeah, like children don't care about money
No.
and invest them. They care about something else.
Yeah.
They make little
Anything
things on TikTok or they want to do sports, right? Play computer games. Like that's what I cared about back then. It was like I had to, like when I was 18, I was interested in investing. Oh no, I remember also when I was 14, I was starting a conversation about investing with one of my friend's dad, who was a banker. And I was visiting them. I was playing with my friend that was 14 years old. And then I said, like, investing this, investing that. And, you know, and this banker, he told me, he says, look, you just arrived. And you're already talking about investing now. Like, is it a bit too early for you to be discussing that? Right. So I'm not sure if children are the right target audience for talking about Bitcoin. You have to first, like, there's one question that we when I was with Neo at this high school, like he was talking about the saving part of the talk, and then I came in for the Bitcoin later.
Yeah.
And during the saving part, it was they were doing a course on personal finance, but I was still a bit abstract for them because they never had a job. I asked them during my second, it's like, hey, have you ever had a job?
It's like two hands go up or something.
No.
Oh yeah.
And I told this anecdote to my wife. He said, like, yeah, it's probably because they're Asian kids. Something like maybe like Asian kids don't go do little paper routes or something like that.
I had one.
Right. Like I had little jobs when I was 14, 15, 16. Same. Right. But and then it's very important because once you have a job and you know what it's like to work, the good things and the bad things, like then you understand how important money is. It's not something that you get once a week from your parents to spend on stuff.
Yeah.
Right? You can, if you work, then you will get it. And if you work well, then you get more. And if you work badly, then they fire you, right? It's really a big deal. Money is very important. So I think at a very minimum, someone has to have an economic interest in their own future, right? They have to care about their own economic future. And then you say there's this thing called Bitcoin, and it's really doing things for people.
Yeah.
And then both at an individual level and at the whole economy and changing the world.
Yeah.
It confuses people, right? Like it's not just buy this stock and then sell it with a profit. It's like, no, you are entering a story of that's going to change everything in the whole economy. And by the way, also, if you own Bitcoin, you can be part of that story in a very lucrative way.
Yes.
Right. And it sort of breaks people's brains that you can do good things and also make money at the same time.
You said recently a quote that helps, something about a man's salary depending on him not understanding
Yeah.
How does it explain? Tell us about that.
Yeah. It's impossible to for a man to understand something if his salary depends on him not understanding it.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
heard that before.
yeah. It's a very like I don't remember the original context or the best example.
This is the best way I said it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you were a certain type of doctor and you specialize in a certain type of treatment, and then it turns out that it's actually bad, then your brain is just gonna resist the evidence, right? Because you get paid for this thing, right? You cannot really just commit like update that quickly.
Yeah.
You're gonna resist the data, the information. So that's a general example, right? So in the case of Bitcoin, it is very easy to see how this works. If you see, maybe like nowadays it will be a little bit different, but let's say 5 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, there was this phase in which governments had to decide on their regulation of this industry. And then they typically did a parliamentary hearing. So members of parliament, professional politicians, they take a bunch of blockchain, Bitcoin, banking people, finance people, even in some cases also executives from the central bank of their own country. And they interview them and say, like, what is this Bitcoin thing? How does it work? How should we regulate it? You know, what is this? And you need to give us advice because we need to make new laws. And this happened in several countries, at least 5. I've seen 3 very long of these parliamentary hearings, from one from Canada, one from the Netherlands, and another one that I don't remember. Maybe other topics related in America. And then you really see it because you have these senior bankers explaining to these politicians what they think Bitcoin is. And it's like, yeah, of course you won't be able to understand because Bitcoin is the negation of your entire existence, like your whole career. These people can be 50, 60 years old, right? And they are very intelligent, they're very hardworking. You spend 60 hours a week the last few decades focused on the fiat banking system and how to operate within that. Like, of course, you're going to know everything about that.
That's made you wealthy. That's given you freedom and liberty and all the things.
It is who you are, and you're all infused. Like every atom in your body is just funded and related to this fiat banking system. So then there's these weirdos that come and say, like, yeah, there's this orange coin and it's better money, and that really matters. And everything that you have invested in and worked for and built is kind of invalid and outdated, and it's a matter of time until it's over, right? Like the earliest analysis were people talking about it that according to the Horse Carriage Association, cars are very bad for people.
Yes.
Right? Like it's just like you cannot get these people to actually understand fully.
Yeah.
Just superficially, and then they will draw the wrong conclusions about their own superficial analysis. That's the best you can do. You cannot get high like senior bankers to understand Bitcoin efficiently. They will get it eventually.
Yeah.
They will forms all their other assets, and they finally have a reason
to look at it.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah.
I want to move on to you're building a village. Can you tell us a little bit about Namjai Village?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Namjai Village. Yes. Yeah. We have this. We had this musing of saying, like, yeah, we gonna stay in Thailand. Me and my wife, we are committed to living in Thailand for the long term. We love this place. We love this culture. We love the people, and we want to stay here forever. And there's a bit of an obstacle in the sense that foreigners here are very transient.
Yeah.
The average expat just moves in and out of Thailand very easily and often never comes back. They use Chiang Mai as a bit of a transformation agent. They just reinvent themselves and then they go on, right? So the friendships are at risk of being superficial, and we have become very wary of just becoming friends with anyone because they would just move, and then it's a bit sad, right?
For sure.
Like I want to spend time with people that I like, that I trust. And so our solution to that is to build a classic old school community where people know each other and trust each other, kind of like these villages in the south of France or in Japan, where everyone is sort of living this healthy, wholesome life and everyone knows each other. Not in the old school sense of like everyone, this repressive social control and hyper conservative, not necessarily that. But at least integrated, that you care about each other, that you live in houses and there's no fences in between, and that you have a lot of shared space. Like this is here is an artist's impression of the common house that you have a lot of shared facilities. You have a
Click to the next one. There's another overview. I just grabbed it from the.
this is also artist impression. This is not really the design. It was an earlier version.
I just grabbed two things from the earlier days.
Yeah.
But if you go back to the other one, real quick.
Yeah. We have a website with a whole design of each individual house, and you can see the design of this common house as well.
Yeah.
So we want to live with people that we like and trust, that are willing to invest in Chiang Mai for the long term. That want to say, I want to build my house here, live here with these people, and you have shared values, and you like each other. This is, if you scroll down, you can see a bit more from.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be like a needle in a haystack, right? So you got to find someone that's non-transient, wants to live here, live in a community that's small, but have the same values as you and Eleanor, or your layout.
Broadly defined, right? There's a few. It is negatively defined. Like, we don't want people with big egos that want to control everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have these personalities. Like cluster B personality. If somebody is a psychopath or very Machiavellian or very narcissistic, then they're not very fun to be around over the long term.
And that balance will ruin the community.
Yes.
So how do you interview that?
Yeah, that's we want to spend time with people before we sell a house to them.
Yeah.
And that's going to be our informal way. We've gotten the advice, which I will probably follow, to actually make a scorecard.
Yeah.
So you say like, okay, this person has these and these pros and these cons, and this personality factor will probably be about half of that.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
If somebody ticks all the boxes, right? Like, okay, like, and we also emphasize in our podcast, you don't have to be best friends with everyone.
Yeah.
But you have to, the person living in the village has to have a sufficient level of cognitive development to understand that they are part of a community.
Yeah.
That it goes both ways. Like, we've had in this group that we started this with, had several people who just very quickly failed at that. Like one lady was a hardcore communist, and that's like that can be like, that was a red flag for me. And then, but let's try, right? And she viewed it really as a place where anybody could just go and just take whatever, right? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what communists do, right? Like, they don't understand that this is an opportunity for you to contribute.
Yes.
Right? So this is just an example for that there needs to be a filtering of a certain level of quality, and that people understand, like, look, you're going to live with other people, so you need to be a certain way.
Yeah. So they could kind of like we do at my company in America, that when they answer an ad, they pretty much filter by just qualifying themselves by answering questions, and then it's like, okay, that person's probably not a good fit for our remote thing. It seems to be that this is not something that you're rushing. This is like you're strongly, deeply committed to this project. Even though it has enormous complexities. I mean, looking at it from like a very high, like a bird's eye, like a 50,000, foot view, meters. It's amazing. I think it sounds so fun. Like, I just had John Ho on last week about co-living. A village is like,
He was originally actually involved with this project.
oh, was he?
Yeah, so we had several people. Everybody was experienced with community, and we all had the sense that this would be a good idea. And so we worked on this kind of casually for a while with this group of people. But at some point, people moved on.
Yeah.
From different things. Like right now, in the form it is right now, it's just me and Eleanor.
Yep.
Like, and we took it to the level of
Yeah.
finish and the concreteness of the vision to this. But I would want to talk with John Ho about running like this clubhouse as a business.
Yeah.
Potentially with him, like that.
He's super cool, man. Yeah, he's laid back, and the podcast will come out tomorrow, so you'll get to hear exactly how he thinks about things. Or is it coming out tomorrow? Today?
Yeah.
And I mean, but this is on like, I really think this is amazing, you know. And I mentioned when I paid so close attention to it. It's fascinating, but man, it's just like I feel like when you get the right residents that want to contribute to this or commit to this, it's going to be so amazing.
Yes.
But getting that, you know, and the fact that it's a complicated enough system that you could deduce down and figure out, kind of like you like complicated systems that you've learned about. This is not just like putting up a sign and filtering in some Google Forms and saying, come on and play with us.
No.
Like, this is a lot of thought. This is a multi-decade project.
Yeah.
And something that
hopefully most of the construction will be done
earlier years. Yeah. But something that you'd be willing to, something that you're passionate about, like how similar with Bitcoin.
Yes. Yeah. It's at the same scale of commitment for me.
It is at the same scale, or
is the same scale, similar. Like it's apples and oranges, you know.
Perfect.
But like if you ask like what motivates me now and what is worthwhile doing,
yeah,
it's very easy for me to imagine how awesome this would be.
Yeah,
right. I want to live in Chiang Mai. I want to live with great people. We know from also science and from history how unhealthy it is to live in this atomized transient way. Like, it's not good for people, it's not good for us. Like, I can quote you all the science for that. But we know, therefore, the best possible way to live in Chiang Mai would be sort of like this. Like, you pick your people, you integrate it. There's a large body of knowledge of co-housing already. Yeah. Like, this is not like, we're not reinventing the wheel here. Yeah. It's a solved problem. People do this. People do this in Europe. People do this in America, South America. This is a thing, right? Yeah. So we are now tuning into those vibes, and we want to bring that to Chiang Mai. And I think that it's, first of all, a real estate problem. So you got to design this, we got to fund this, we got to build this, we got to maintain it. Yeah, that is one story, and we have taken that on as a couple to do that.
Do you have your site already chosen out?
I have two favorites.
Cool.
And I'm talking with investors about how we can secure this one of these two pieces of land. Yeah. And there was a really cool pattern that I noticed. There were three places that I felt like, oh yeah, this is where we could do it. They all had a temple right next door, a Buddhist temple. So I probably have something in common with these monks about what is a good place to be.
Oh, smart.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It was just pure coincidence, I thought. But then it's just like, no, that's not a coincidence. These places have a very good feel,
very good energy. Yeah, they're in a very good location.
Yeah. So there's two places. That the one is in terms of the grand location, like the positioning versus town is not good. So we dropped that off. And then there's two left that are in the right neighborhood. And now I need to get all the numbers down. Yeah, that is my task for the rainy season now in Chiang Mai. I need to have all the finance numbers, both in the spreadsheet and my head. Everything needs to be nailed, and then I can go to people and say like, oh, you want this house it's going to cost that much.
Cool.
Like a specific number. And then you say like, okay, and now we can have a conversation about, do you want to live in Chiang Mai with us? Yes or no? Because until you have that number, it's too vague.
It is vague. You're in this really fun, creative phase. Like this is like, you know, when you got a business idea, like you're very well further along than that. And like, I like that you could be so flexible to like the location, and you really want to get this right. It's such a big commitment, and it's such an exciting project. I wonder like how much of 10 years of building community, you know, translated into wanting to do this. Like, did it have an impact on that? Like in a way, or have you thought about that?
Yeah. I haven't really thought about that, but it makes sense that it would. That me growing up in a very individualistic culture, and being quite self-reliant, also in terms of personality. You know, that is what made me do something as extreme as being a location independent freelance professional, right?
Yeah.
Just being an expat and have this very transient kind of lightweight life. To then me learning about community building through Bitcoin, right? And how good relationships and the right friendships and the right business relationship, how that can really accelerate everything so much. It's like you're looking at 10x, 10x, 10x. Right?
Yes.
Like everything is just going really well and
harmonized.
Yeah, and this is so this is what it's like to be really human.
Yeah.
You know, this is how you're supposed to do things. And of course, then the next step would be is like, okay, how do I take that?
So it has had an influence because you saw the power of connectivity and having community and people together. You know, like I wonder also, people might be watching this like, that's ambitious, but maybe they want to build a small a small community about their topic and get to something like this. I guess it's just a matter of putting in the work, exploring.
Yeah, it's like, I have to admit, it is a bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not a real estate professional, right? Like I am recycling my business knowledge from other fields into a real estate project. And but that is one thing that I've always done, is just do things that are a little bit outside of my reach. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You know, I have to admit that. But that is the only way that I can really get excited about something. Like, I don't want to be bored.
Yeah, for sure.
The ambition has to be commensurate to my to my capacities.
So one of my questions was, what are you pursuing right now? Is this consuming a lot of your thoughts?
Yeah. It's like I went to a bit of a transition period after my last entrepreneurial project, which was related to lightning and air quality.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah,
we had one here.
Yeah, you guys helped us out with that. You were in our network of air quality meters.
Super cool.
So I was, but at the time I was really, like, we want to scale this up to all of Asia and everything, and Bitcoin is going to be facilitating rewards.
Yeah,
you know, I had the whole thing mapped out, but yeah, we didn't succeed. We had to pull the plug on, or like we did pull the plug on that about a year ago. Like in October.
I mean, I guess it depends what your definition of success is. You look at the map and you're quite a few places, and
we had users. We had 6,000 users.
I mean, this is successful.
Yeah. It was,
I guess, just not in like a business money generating income opportunity.
Yeah. It was successful in terms of users, but it turns out that the business model that we envisioned was a dud. Like, people are not interested in collecting a reward after they get to the place where the air is clean. So then we couldn't close the cycle. We couldn't get business owners to pay for something that they can't measure, right? And we cannot measure it if people don't collect a reward. So and then at some point you run out of steam. We tried to raise money with the new business model. Rainy season didn't work. So but this was an example of me just taking a risk and getting a team together. And
that's amazing.
Like, and or
It's a good experience.
yeah. And now this is something that was sort of brewing in the background while we were on that. This was not a business at the time, right? This was an idea. We were just talking to people. And then after I took a bit of time off to recover from my efforts for this tech startup. Do some motorcycling,
Nice.
adventures.
Yeah.
Take beautiful pictures of the mountain, things like that.
Good.
And then I went full on this.
Yeah.
So now and this is ramping up now. This is we got the architect to design all this stuff. We have a marketing campaign now. This website was built by a local marketing agency.
Cool.
So we have our team together and we're building the podcast, and I need to get those numbers down, and then people can have very efficient conversations if I have a number. So.
I like talking about Namjai. Outside of Namjai, I want to ask you, what is the thing you do where you lose track of time? What is one thing you do where you lose track of time?
Yeah, so I think there's two things that are related. So I really enjoy exploring ideas and just like have new concepts or ideas to play with. It's like a game. And I really can get into the flow zone if I go write. So I'm a professional writer. I was doing this in my career, right? These communication things or writing essays or books, or then it's just very inspiring to just disappear into the ideas. And I especially in the morning, you get up, you start working, and then you just lose track of time, and then sometimes it doesn't gel. It's not always perfect, but of course, if things go well, then you get into the zone, and then 4 hours later, it's just like, phew, okay, now I'm really tired.
This is great.
Yeah. That's and then related to that is like discussing those ideas with people in a really good quality conversation. I also lose track of time. That's why I enjoy hosting a meetup.
Yeah, right? This is cool. That's why I like doing this, what we're doing today.
Yeah, and this is also like for some people, podcasting is work, but for me, it's
actually that's what I was thinking. For me, it is a little bit of work, and I was always like, I'm not sure if I'm the right guy for this.
Well, you had to prepare this,
I
right?
prepare, yeah. But I always prepare. I always lose sleep. I told him last night, I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm prepared. But one thing I noticed for your podcast is that I use AI for everything over the last 2 years. But when I wrote these questions down, I wrote every question down.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, give me a list of questions for a podcast for a guy that's like this, that's like this. I was like, I really want to know things. I want to get to know you more. I want to get to hear about, the way you think and the way you are. I have a few more questions before we wrap up. And one of them was, if you had $100 million, what would you be doing what would you do with that? What would you be doing every day? I don't think you could say buy Bitcoin.
No.
Okay, so you know what I mean?
No, I understand. I understand the question, and like I can answer it for a lower number. Somebody is waving
up. We got somebody here. Come on
in. Yeah, $100 million. Like basically saying if you didn't have any economic constraints on your activities. Right. I usually answer that question if people ask this in these personal finance forums, whatever. It's just like, well, what do you do when you were financially independent, when you're rich or whatever, right? And I say, look, I would just do exactly the same thing as I do right now, minus the part where I explain myself to people.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we translate this to Namjai Village, so because of the scale that we are aiming for, I'm not gonna fund this. Like, we cannot just buy a whole village, right? We cannot build a whole village. We're not gonna do that.
No.
But if I had 100 million, then I could just do that. Right? I could build the whole thing, just pay everything up front, make everything perfect.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Like, just walk around there, no one's living there, and then make every house really beautiful and whatever. And then I can say like, okay, it costs this much, price of entry to get in, right? So the whole, like, the project management of it would be the same, but the financing questions and the marketing questions would be a whole different level, right? It would just be trivial.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the things I would do if I was not economically constrained, but I am still economically constrained. So, but I mean,
But that's also
it just means that there's more of a challenge for me.
for sure. For
Like
sure. I need a little bit of a challenge too, right?
yeah, I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like I still want to build exactly the same village. It's just that I need to talk to investors, or I might restrict my customer base to people that can pay off plan.
Yeah.
Right. So it just changes the story a little bit for me. I would still, if I had $100 million, I would still write essays and I would still hang out with people.
Yeah.
Look, I know what I like. I know what's important. I'm not going to change that just
Yeah.
because I have more money.
Yeah, for sure. I just wasn't sure what you'd answer.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah.
I would, I mean, maybe it would compel me to be more caring for the world as a whole, like to be politically active if I could have that much influence.
Yeah.
Right? Because I do have political opinions, but I don't perceive myself to have enough power to affect them. But if you have that much money, maybe that will become a factor then.
For sure.
What would you do with 100 million?
I don't think I'd do anything different.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I don't the boats and all that flashy stuff isn't really.
Don't buy a boat. Come on.
No, I'm saying that's not of interest to me. Like $100 million. I don't know. My guess, one of my like guilty pleasures is flying comfortably, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I see you always. You always in business class with the champagne and everything. Yeah.
funny thing is, I haven't drank in 2 years, so it's not real champagne.
Oh.
But there's like the bar in the back of the Emirates plane. I have my parents coming here in for the first time. They're older. They're early 70s, late 60s, in the end of October. So one big expense, what I wanted them to, I knew if they flew coach from New York to Asia, they might never come back. You're a big guy too. You know how that is, flying to Europe and back. So that's pretty expensive. But I know that also I don't get to see my parents a lot.
And you get to spoil them.
Yeah, like and like my, where we are in Bitcoin and like how that is like, if things just continue to just do what they do and, TikTok next block, I think like, I mean, I really just don't have like that desire, for material things. We just bought a car this week.
Probably because it was practical and it wouldn't break and it had
Because it's safer for me to get here.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main things. Yeah, and we have an older car, so we just bought a Tesla.
Which one did you get?
The Model Y, the newer Juniper, whatever, black.
Mm.
But like they don't have a dealership in Chiang Mai, so you have to like go get it. They have like a maintenance thing in Chiang Mai or the power station, so you got to get it. But Friday, we have visitors in town. A whole team of educators coming to the university to talk Thai from Right Shift and the different Thai Bitcoin community. And we're like, we can't go, dude. I can't pick up this car. We got to like make sure everyone's comfortable. Saturday's the day. So we're flying her mom and dad and their uncle down to Bangkok to pick up the spaceship. Because they're like, what? I need an app. How do I charge it? Where am I going to stop in the middle? So that's like what's new on our horizon with that. I'm going.
We're still driving it down.
They're going to pick it up on Friday. I mean, he's like working here on the 3rd floor today.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got to leave to fly down tomorrow to pick it up Friday, because they don't let you pick it up on Sunday or Monday. So that was our big expense of the year. The marathon and festival is super expensive.
Yeah. But that's not for you. That is indirectly it's for you, but
indirectly
it's directly it's you just want to throw an awesome party.
I want to have an awesome party. I had the shocking moment before you walked in. The team we had just secured our third biggest sponsor. The top 3 we would want would be Tether, Binance, and Meetup.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a pipe dream. We're really like year doing this. I mean, we did it together with BitDevs, the Bangkok built on Bitcoin Bob Space guys, before it started building. So we technically we were doing this for 2 years building it, and it's still building today. But we had secured Tether, which is wonderful. Big Cub's interested. They're signing docs back and forth. It's 100% happening there. And then we just secured Binance. But yesterday, we had just put like some media on. Like, oh, we have a marketing company. We paid $1.1 million bot for a marketing company because we really want to get as many people in Orange as possible, having a blast, as many runners. We want to really bring this big event to Chiang Mai. I mean, I'm pumped about it. And right before you walked in, I had to do this. It was like 10:40. I had to like say, I have an urgent meeting at 11. I cannot do this. Like, But
what's
Chief
happening?
Tether freaked out. Maybe freak out support word. They're extremely like hostile in messaging about Binance being on the docket.
Because it's competition?
Well, I mean, whatever their differences are, but it's like, it's not a Tether marathon. You know, we have like plenty of people like Block Mountain and these other, you know, contributors from all over, and Rightshift and everybody, like small little contributors, maybe just board games and Lightning and just markets, little stuff. But like
They somehow tripped over Binance.
Yeah. And they're like, that's not what we agree, you know, and like, I'm like, I'm getting ready for Stefan's podcast. Like, I'm not doing it. So with these big ambitions and big things, we're going to have these challenges. But I also went into it saying like, bro, let me tell you this crazy thing. So I kind of talked to you about the city not getting involved. This is a 10 million project,
Mm-hmm.
which is like $300,000. And when we went into it, the city was going to pay 50% of it. And they were going to help a big marketing budget, innovate Chiang Mai, you know.
It's good for Chiang Mai.
It's good for Chiang Mai. They, you know, digital finance. We spent 15 meetings with the provincial authority, going to the city, teaching him about self-custody, like Bitcoin safety, we called it. This was like, we went really far with them, and it was really progressive, wonderful. And then the final moment, like 2 weeks ago, they reduced their commitment to 500,000. And we don't even think we're gonna have that. So now here we are. So we had this extra $150,000 or 5 million baht that's no longer in the game. And we told our sponsors along the way that we're having this massive thing. So now we add in like that they're not wanting the other massive exchange to take place to partake in this event. Well, first of all, Bitcoin's for everyone. And second of all, like at the end of the day, like we were going to do this with or without sponsors.
You just have to re-economize your choices.
We have to make a couple concessions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, this is, and that fact will also potentially attract completely new people before, well, I mean, you don't have that much time anymore.
No, yeah. We're out of time. Yeah, right, like 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
But go for next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to harm our relationship with Tether. Tether's huge. I mean, massive, dude.
Yeah, it's the biggest, one of the biggest. Is it the biggest?
It's the biggest.
Yeah.
And it's almost the biggest. It's going to be like bigger than all of everything. But so we want to keep that. So I mean, right before you walked in, I had messaged, I had to say something because I'm just that kind of guy. I'm like, well, do you want to pay the $1 million baht for the gold slot, the gold sponsorship slot? Because I'm just not sure they're really being thoughtful about this not being their event. And in the contract, dude, they're talking about lots of contracts, lots of signing, a lot of the things we do. Nothing in there's like, this is exclusively our event. You can't do shit. It's like, all right, well, you deal with the marathon, the race organizers, the city team, the festival team. Like, come on, you could do it, dude.
There was just a misunderstanding about the expectations, right?
There's a misunderstanding.
I think they know that you are organizing it and not them, right?
I think so.
They were just maybe hoping that you don't get it.
They were hoping that, and they were hoping that. And so now, luckily, we've had almost an hour and a half for them to cool down and not respond, because if you saw Five's face when you walked in, she's just like trying to navigate this. But this is part of like building a community. This is part of doing what we're doing. This is like, a good problem in a way. Like, wow, like you really think that this is such a valuable venue and all this. And like, I know that you can, and dude, when you contribute like, for the title sponsor, it's $75,000. Like it's not, it's $2.5 million or 2.5 million baht. It's not like we're in like Switzerland and it's a $250,000 contribution. It's like, okay, everybody slow down. Like, you know, we could definitely make this a tether event. We just you gotta pay some more money. Because how much could they expect from us to so we just have to like say, okay, can we take on this person? Yeah, you're the title sponsor and you got to choose which one you want to be. So I don't know, I guess I'm just airing their latest and the greatest in this that comes from the activities we're doing.
Yeah, but that is what's exciting about pushing the envelope. You know, you never know what's gonna happen, and
You don't know.
you got all these problems to solve, and that makes you grow.
Yes. There are quite a bit of problems, and doing this in an entirely different language require, like, one of the questions I didn't ask you, and we got through all of them. Most of them you answered them along the way, was about your level of patience. Like, you have to have a very special level of patience to build a community.
Yeah,
and be thoughtful of those around you, and second and third order consequences of maybe not having the water system or the wind flow or all of these things, right?
Yeah, but and it's mostly always people, right? So you're dealing with people's baggage and their desires, their limitations. There's a really inspiring book about this that sort of is the extreme version that sets your expectations. Do you know Ernest Shackleton?
Have you heard familiar? No.
Yeah, so this is a British explorer, and he put a team together that attempted to get to the South Pole. Okay. This is like 150 years ago.
Okay, when they heard of this,
you had these steamships and whatever. Like there were it was primitive, and no one had ever been to the South Pole, and they were gonna go. And he put this team together of tough guys to go get to the South Pole, but it goes wrong. And then they have to just not die, right? And that's a beautiful survival story of a group of men in a very hostile environment that have to stay together. So this is like, you wouldn't really call it a community, but the challenges that they have to deal with collectively, and then him as the leader, like he has to make all the right calls.
Oh my goodness.
Or everyone's dead. Right. So it's a fascinating benchmark. It's like if you think about how difficult that is, and that those people rise to the challenge and they can do it, then you can run a marathon, you can organize a marathon, you can build a village, we can build a village, no problem. It's like it's just about being prepared and stepping up, right? Yeah.
Dude, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
maybe we could do it again sometime.
Yeah, if we have new developments, we can always organize another.
We yesterday, I don't know if you saw like the Chiang Mai Bitcoin Telegram like going crazy last night or yesterday. If you look at it,
I haven't seen it. No.
So in Thailand yesterday, they announced that the Bank of Thailand's proposing internal capital controls of a limit of 50,000 baht per day to send from your mobile banking app, which is roughly $1,500. And they're proposing it like to prevent scams, people losing money from scams. That's their terminology. But you feel that like, and then usually there's like a long heated thing. Like obviously Bitcoiners are very opinionated, very diverse. And it's concerning. I mean, as I was driving home, I asked what the limit is in Laos, in Burma, and in Vietnam. And it's like, Vietnam's like 3 million baht per day. Burma was like 79,000 baht. Anyway, this is like things that I think about. Like,
because how people gonna pay for a car, man? For example,
they have to go to the bank. They have to get approval.
Yeah, I see.
Or then you're going to get on some list saying, I need to require, I don't want to need to speculate, but this is like, what it could be like, you know, I buy cars a lot. I'm on some list. I'm approved. It's just like alarming and alarming when you start thinking about people being okay with that and not realizing that it's really potentially destructive to people that want to build communities or attracting people to the country. No, I think that 50,000 is highly aggressive. I mean, they should probably tone it down from like $100,000 to like 10,
Yeah,
50,000.
and I wonder how far it will actually go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Because the authorities over here, they have all kinds of ideas.
And it's flipped around.
Yeah.
We also just had the digital. We saw the release of their digital DigiPay sandbox in Thailand, and bro, it looks like it's so disappointing. Like, obviously, I like to have high ambitions and high hopes, and I always think the best. So I do get let down. Like, I'm not like a monk. I can't just live in a constant state of joy. I need this fucking in my life.
Yeah.
I do. And like, I thought we'd be able to have that store accept Lightning like during this test phase, but it's just so not. It's like you can exchange your crypto to e-money that represents Thai baht to be spent at a merchant that agrees and partakes to the KYC of that merchant, disclosing their financials and whatever else. So it's like, I can't even, it's just like so vastly different than my hope was. And it explicitly says you cannot transact in crypto or Bitcoin.
But that's what you bring into the country, right? That's the reason you come here. It's because you can spend that, but then it gets parked and you get to spend their digital tokens.
Digital tokens to locations that accept digital tokens.
Yeah.
And it's not for people like you and I. You have to be on a tourist visa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I know,
but I don't think that's a problem, right? You bring new people in, like we.
Yeah. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just illuminating.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, this country is notorious for like changing. So we could expect that. But if you get it wrong, it's really a big setback. You know, when you see countries not be so thoughtful, I think there's like 2 different apps. And obviously you hear like the brainiac Bitcoiners really figure it out quick. And they're like, wait a minute. And that just doesn't go anywhere because they don't listen to us anyway. So those are the latest things regarding Bitcoin in Thailand that I'm aware of. So we stay tuned with all of it as much as possible. And hopefully we'll continue to build the space and educate as many people as possible through our community-driven activities. I'm hoping to get you into a university for the 4th quarter that would complete the year, 1 quarter, 1 academic institution.
Yeah, extra satisfying to fulfill all the boxes.
Yeah, for sure. Stefan King, thanks for having.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. All right.